In previous graphs, we've analyzed trade across regions or trade across countries, trade in goods, and trade in labor. And in all of these cases, trade was motivated by observations of price or wage differences across regions. Trade can also, however, happen across time, when individuals believe there are price differences that will emerge over time. The underlying motivation remains the same, to buy low and sell high. Only with trade across time, we have to speculate about what prices will be in the future. For this reason, rather than referring to those who are seeking to buy low and sell high as exporters or importers, we refer to them as speculators when they're trading across time. Every spring, for instance, demand for gasoline tends to be relatively low as people live their regular lives, kids go to school, and individuals go to work. In summers, when kids get out of school, demand for gasoline tends to increase as families go on family vacations and travel around the country by car. This leads to the reasonable speculation that, in the absence of anything happening, prices will be higher for gasoline in the summer than in the spring. A speculator sees in this an opportunity to buy low and sell high. All he has to do is buy gasoline in the spring, store it, and then sell it in the summer when prices are likely to be higher. This puts upward pressure on gasoline prices in the spring. This also puts downward pressure on prices in the summer when speculators unload the gasoline they bought in the spring. Speculators will continue to have an incentive to buy low and sell high until prices are equalized across time. This assumes, of course, that the cost of storing gasoline is negligible. The drop in gasoline prices in the summer will cause an increase in the quantity demanded and a decrease in the quantity supplied by firms, whereas the increase in price in the spring causes an increase in the quantity supplied by firms and a decrease in the quantity demanded by consumers. The demand and supply curves by consumers and firms in the two time periods remain unchanged by this, but the demand curve in the spring market does shift because of the behavior of the speculators who are buying gasoline. This is what drives up price in the spring. Similarly, when the speculators sell gasoline in the summer, they're shifting the supply curve, thus putting the downward pressure on prices in the summer. The difference between the quantity that is supplied by firms in the spring and the quantity that is demanded by consumers in the spring is the amount of gasoline that is stored by speculators. This same difference then emerges in the summer as a difference between the quantity demanded by consumers in the summer and the quantity supplied by firms in the summer. That difference is then the amount that is sold by speculators who had bought in the spring. In the real world, of course, there is a cost to storing gasoline, and the longer you have to store it, the higher the cost. For this reason, there are price differences across time in the price of gasoline. But as the summer approaches, prices tend to rise before consumer demand increases. This is because as the summer approaches, it becomes less and less costly to store gasoline for briefer and briefer periods, and so speculators become more active as the summer approaches. Then, as consumer demand increases in the summer, prices no longer increase because speculators are beginning to sell the gasoline. Speculators can therefore play a socially useful role despite the fact that they're not producing anything. Their actions cause price fluctuations across time to be smaller than they otherwise would be, and allow for the emergence of supplies of gasoline during times when demand is high. This is similar to the role we've found for exporters and importers across regions or countries. The difference is that speculators have to guess about future prices, and while it might be easy to predict an increase in the price of gasoline in the summer, not all prices are equally easy to predict across time. Thus speculators may sometimes be wrong about how prices will move, and thus not play the same role that they play in this graph.